afternoon, I'm Cheryl Elliott. I'm Vice President of Finance for the Health Region, and this week I was team lead for the RPIW number 11 in scheduling. This is a plan for our report out. It just gives everybody a chance to speak, even if they didn't want to. This is our team picture, Team Dial-A-Wish, the scheduling team. On our project form, our target statement is reduce defects in the central scheduling process from when the manager makes a request to when scheduling sends a response to the manager. And what we found was that often shifts are not filled and patient care could be compromised due to staff shortages. And we also found that the focus in scheduling is often on the next 72 hours or even less. And that the impression was that there was very little, the impression was requests were not being processed in a timely fashion, and so there was limited time left for the manager to talk to their staff about the possibility of their shifts not being filled. What we also found in week -3 was data is hard to come by in the scheduling department. So we massaged some data out of the system, but it was all around shifts, and most of the requests come in for several shifts at a time. So we had to do a lot of work around our data, and we had to do a lot of assuming, so it was kind of interesting. On our value stream map, we noticed several areas where we thought there was opportunity for improvement. And as you can see, those ones that have X's on them are the things that we tried to, or we feel that we've had an effect on this week. In scheduling, there is about 13 FTE budgeted with relief, and they are spending about 80% of their time on filling requests. Their demand is approximately 1,045 shifts per week that need to be booked off, and that's in a week. They also spend a half a day on Monday with, they only do sick calls and flow sheets in the mornings on Monday. So that takes up some of their time. This is the calculation of our takt time. So every 11 minutes, 35 seconds, a request should be completed in the scheduling department based on our demand. And this is just a list of the assumptions we had to make our complete our takt time.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Jensen. I was the sub-team lead for this project. And I'm just going to speak to the target sheet, give you some of our baselines and our targets for improvement. So for our space measure, we have 325 cubic feet. Hope to cut that in half with bypassing some closets and covered space. We measured backlog for inventory. So that was requests that were in the program and not filled, or not entering the program at all yet. So shifts that were not filled for the next month, we started with a baseline of 17, hoped to get to 9. The lead time for filling long notice requests was 24 hours, 55 minutes, 58 seconds at the beginning, and we hoped to cut that in half. Our quality measures were all around standard work, so we had 0 pieces of standard work for managers and also 0 for schedulers. We set a target of 4 for the managers and 3 for schedulers. For our 5S, we picked the hallway, closet, and kitchen area, and we had a baseline score of 1.3, and we hoped to get to 3. The cycle time we measured was for long notice requests, from being open and prioritized till the manager was notified after. We had 22 minutes and 31 seconds, and we assumed that is not cool. So I'll show you some of our observations and timings. So this is one of our time observations from pre-Kaizen with 19 minutes, 47 seconds. A similar request was processed post-Kaizen with 14 minutes, 43 seconds. These are the standard work combination sheets for those 2 timings, pre and post-Kaizen. So our percent load charts, the pre shows a cycle time of 22.5 minutes. And post, we had a measurement of 14 minutes, 43 seconds. So the spaghetti diagrams that we did, since we didn't have a lot of movement within the department or in any part of our process, we talked about communication. So what was bouncing back and forth among and between these players. So we had by fax, by email, and by telephone. So you can see there's a lot of back and forth between the schedulers and managers, and also some between employees and the scheduling department. So in the post-present, we eliminated employees speaking with scheduling directly, and we reduced some of the back and forth between managers and the scheduling department.
Hi, I'm Shannon Hill. I am in the central scheduling for the Park-Washington region. I work directly with Sean and Greg this week in establishing some work standards and standard work for managers and for the schedulers. One of our first things that we changed was our message every morning from 05 to 0800. We've got a new message on there now, only allowing the managers and the staff that we have contacted that morning to get through to us on the phone. We also have created a standard triage for when we take our messages so that we can standardize by priority where we start with our shifts, and just to keep communication amongst all of us while we do it. We've also created a standard script that we're going to be using now, and that's also posted at every workstation. And by using this should help eliminate having to contact the same employee numerous times during the day. We've also dealt with vacant lines, because that was an issue. Do we bring them up? Does the manager direct us? So we've made it that we await the manager's direction for whatever is needed for that vacant line, and then we need to communicate accordingly back so that they know what stands on the console for as an offer and who the replacements are.
I'm Frank Superab. I'm a nursing home manager in long-term care. I work with Tanya and Sean, and I focused in with those two folks with standard work within the scheduling department. Big batch of the work it comes from two groups, which is QP and Sons, and within those two batches, there's two batches within QP within 72 hours, and outside 72 hours, there was no standard work applying a process in scheduling department. So we applied two processes, one within 72 hours, in which is very clear on who locates the shifts in the council and how they're cleared off the council. And the other one was kind of blended because it was perceived, and there was a lot of anecdotal and some data that shifts are being left on and then they're getting to 72 hours and costing overtime. So we came up with a process to address some of those as well. So there's some standard work, and we went through the standard work. So it's very clear how who initiates the requisition and then how the interaction is completed at the end in formal communication between manager and scheduler of the area. The other third area we focused on was Sun, and Sun requests that are long-term Sun requests, so outside of the time frame. So we came up with some standard work for the schedulers, and when they receive a request, first of all, how that request will be received, how formal it will be, shifts being left on the council will be dealt with in a formal manner through their standard work, and we went through the process and we were able to provide some training to some folks in the department. There's a multi-skill training schedule, and some of the training will be ongoing, but we were able to go through and train some of the folks in the schedule.
I'm Sean Knuff. I'm a nursing unit manager at the big hospital here. I work with Tanya and Frank on the standard work for managers and schedulers. Through our ideal summary sheets, we noticed that there's several managers in the region using multiple forms with varying expectations of central schedules and requesting a shift off. We also noted that at times forms are being sent in knowing that we can't fill a shift. There may be two, we know that we have two vacant lines already on that rotation. Someone's requested a day off. We'll send it as scheduling anyway, just to appease the staff members, so to speak. What it does is it creates extra work for them. They've already called people out for these two shifts. Now they're calling back again for the shift that we know we can't fill. And we also notice that managers think that they're doing lots of help by entering stuff into ESP, and at times it's either incomplete or incorrect, and it's causing rework for the schedulers. So to enable the schedulers to do their job, the one that they're trained for, we developed some standard work for managers. Regarding daily flow sheets, this is the current practice now where managers will fax in their flow sheet from the previous day in the mornings. Right? So all we're doing is we're making sure that it includes all the changes. We also made some standard work regarding long-term requests for leave. So basically what's going to happen now is the manager will receive the request for leave. They'll review the form for completeness. They'll also review that on the console to see if it's a viable request. And then they will then forward that on to scheduling via fax or email. Okay. The standard work surrounding book offs within 72 hours and outside 72 hours is very similar to the long-term process, other than there will be a phone call with a follow-up email. Some of the work standards that we did develop through all this work is the regarding ESP and time cards. Right now, we hope to see the manager only, or their designate, be limited to only putting in time card changes. All other entries will be put in by the central scheduling staff. Vacant lines. So the process that we have now, I mean, there was some expectation that scheduling just put the line into an indefinite date. But the process that we'd like to see happen now, that the manager will inform via fax or email the central scheduling department the designation that is to be booked off, the length of time that is supposed to be booked off, and instructions for replacing that shift. On the flip side, if that line is filled, we will also notify who the incumbent will be to fill that line, how long they will be in that line if applicable. Flow sheets. On Mondays prior to 1200 hours, they would request that only faxes and emails pertaining to the current upload are sent. This is to eliminate batching. I know it's not like we are batching them on Monday mornings, but we're already batching from the weekend. Saturday, Sunday flow sheets are being faxed. This is just to ensure that the upload goes smoothly and correctly. Also, a maximum of 5 sheets per fax transmission. What happens when you send a fax transmission is they're all grouped into one email for them. So if you send 19 requests, 19 will show up on the email and things may get missed because of the large numbers. They're also having to sort through multiple emails to see what is immediate and what may be long-term. And the other thing that we did add for the standard work regarding flow sheets is that each manager must send in staffing instructions twice per year to central scheduling in April and October. And from that, we developed a algorithm and a flow sheet. Basically what this algorithm will be for the central scheduler and the manager. The manager will complete it. The scheduling office will then have instructions, basically it's a standing order on whether or not to proceed to overtime. This should eliminate that phone call to the manager in your absence and or the delay in filling that shift. We also developed an instruction sheet on how to fill it out and how to interpret the document. So we did trial this with a very small subset of managers. The plan is to roll it out into another group as we
Hello everyone, I'm Tina from the Happy Volunteer Department, and I'm very pleased to be the patient rep for the RPIW number 11, known as the Dial-A-Wish Scheduling Team. I'm going to use the S word to describe the 5 S's done in the business scheduling office. On and E and I started off with sorting, simplifying, and sweeping. The fax machine was moved from the tiny kitchen to a location just a wall space away. Shelves above the machine were cleared of obsolete papers and stocked with just what is needed. This new location saved $3.75 every time the staff needed the paper supplies. The big water bottles for drinking water were moved from a high traffic area to the kitchen, thus taking away clutter from the office entrance. For easier mobility, we removed the cumbersome folding doors from the coat rack and the overcrowded storage cabinet. All in all, we removed 41 items of waste. And even discovered a light that we wouldn't have been. Now the storage cabinet and everything in it is labeled, looks professional, bright and cheery. We gained or saved 17 cubic feet after all was done. In the kitchen, we removed the wall fixtures, cleaned, washed, and simplified drawers. These changes were labeled for easy recognition. A new shelf was also added for easy-to-reach coffee cups. Our assessment rating at the start was 1.3 out of 5. We finished with 2.8, meaning we have a challenge to improve. This workshop is gratifying and hopefully sets the trail to positive change in the scheduling office. In the end, it is bound to be a plus for the patient as we put patient first.
Hi, my name is Annalise Dukalak from Silver Home Care. I've been a participant in this rapid improvement workshop. I had the pleasure of working with Tina over the last week to make on the 5S portion. One of the idea summary sheets told us that there was a concern where staff don't have a way to leave a snapshot of the work progress. So for example, outstanding shifts being worked on but not completed before the day shift starts again. So a large whiteboard was hung in the workspace to improve communication and visibility. The information put on the board was then standardized so that the board has a designated area for the scheduling manager to write staff assignments for the next 3 to 4 days ahead. Then the 5 teams have an allocated space to communicate any work in progress. They do utilize their emails, but presently use a lot of sticky notes, which while in transition to using the board can now be stuck to the green tape on the board. And the goal is to definitely move to writing right directly on the board.
All right, I'll just go through the newspaper items that are left outstanding. So we have about 25 items on the list. The first one deals with the separating faxes, the issue that Sean mentioned, where they're receiving faxes in email form with many requests, sometimes 10 to 20 requests in one email. So to avoid things being missed, we're working with IT to get those coming individually as separate emails. There's also the issue of revising the form, so the decision has to be made whether to revise the leave request form or whether it'll be coming in a different format altogether soon. There's many pieces of training left to do. There was a lot of work with this group, standard work for both managers and schedulers, and that all needs to be enrolled and trained. Another improvement is we have a spot now in launch for employees to get some information about scheduling and their part in scheduling and how they can interact most effectively with scheduling. So we have to finish the messaging for the launch piece. And the rest is training that's left over here for managers as well as some local schedulers in the standard work and the work standards. So for our target sheet results, we ended up with a 5% improvement in our space. In that very small space that we had to work with, I think we did make a bit of improvement there. For our backlog, we improved by 80% and 77%. So that's the shifts left on the console not filled or not entered on the console yet. The lead time was improved by 79%, and the standard work was 100% finished. So we managed to get 4 pieces for managers and 3 for schedulers. 5S, we ended up with a score of 2.8, so a 38% improvement there. And our cycle time was improved by 35%.
This is our waste wheel at the beginning of the week, and we had a lot of items in certain areas. We don't see a lot of transportation or movement in scheduling, so we saw a lot of other areas where they had a lot of waste. And after our Kaizen, we saw a significant reduction in the amount of waste in those areas. So the improvements that we spoke of in the standard work did a lot towards decreasing the waste. Our workshop summary, we found that this is a great process to dive into and focus on what will work best for the whole system. It's impossible not to be engaged when you're in an RPIW. You can't hide. It's content experts or your subject matter experts, the people who work in the area that you're working with, are the most valuable to the process. And we can make rapid improvements in process, but culture is slower to follow. The standard work is important. It equals consistency. And if we have 30-plus managers and 12 schedulers all doing something slightly different, we end up with some results we really don't like. And importance of communication both within the department and out to other departments is very important. It's one of the most important things. Thank yous. We have a lot of thank yous. We have many people in the department. We have lots of managers that helped us out, and we had a bunch of KPO and Deb from JBA who helped us out, and most importantly, the scheduling staff. They were very open and made themselves available to us, and it was very helpful. Thank you.